Okay, we're going to continue our top 10 songs from bands. We got Mike and Mark here. Right now, we're going to feature a band from Kansas City, uh, Shooting Star. Um, Big favorite of both of ours. Um, they they debuted about 1979 um, with the debut self-titled album, and they went on to make um, 5 albums. Then in 1986, uh, they announced that they were going to end it, and they said they were going to do a farewell concert. Mike and I went to Kansas City to see it. Aside from having a fever and the flu, it was pretty incredible, and it was our first kind of like wild thing that we did. We just did it on a whim. We just said, "Hey, let's go," and we went. And then they decided they were going to do a final show here in St. Louis, which for me, I decided, being an idiot, that I wasn't going to go, that I've already seen their last show. So Mike went and got to see him again. Dumb, dumb move on my part. And then that was it.
Yeah, I remember seeing them 5 times there towards the end, and I
Yeah.
guess you were four. We saw them in Forest Park. We saw them opening for Heart. We
Fox,
saw them at
Mississippi
we saw
Nights
Mississippi
twice.
Nights.
Was that twice
Oh,
at
I only
Mississippi?
saw them once at Mississippi Nights, and then the fifth time, other than Kansas City, was when I saw them at Westport Playhouse.
Oh, okay.
Is where they were in the round, I believe, and. At the time, the thrill of my life was getting a high five from Gary West as he went off the stage.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, I touched a rock star.
Right.
Oh wow,
Right.
never anything like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, those were some incredible shows and
Yeah.
incredible time, and all of a sudden it was all over.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you a brief history of what happened since. I'm not going into it very deeply because in a couple ways it's very sad, and in other ways it's a farce and a joke. Gary West got out of the business. He was the main vocalist. Van McLain did a lot of vocals. They did shared some vocals, and Gary West left the business, never came back. Van McLain decided he was going to carry on. He carried on with a few of the band members. One might have been Ron Verlin and maybe Steve Thomas at times, the drummer. And then they got a new vocalist, and they did a single called "Touch Me Tonight" around 1990. Was that Keith Mitchell?
Mm-hmm.
Keith Mitchell on vocals. So they tinkered around that. They did that for years off and on, and before you knew it, it was just Van, or periodically Steve, the drummer, and then Van got sick a couple times, and in the end, a few years ago, Van passed away. So now you got Van and Gary completely gone. There might be a drummer remaining with 4 other guys.
And a woman, I think.
Yeah, going around calling themselves Shooting Star, which is the biggest farce you can have. And people are actually going. And I think it's either a complete lack of knowledge, or they just don't care who's playing the songs. If they knew that the two main writers, singers, the frontmen were both gone, I don't know. I don't know what they would think, but and maybe they know it, but I doubt it. So anyway,
A fun fact is, and I don't know if you were aware of that, but the singer who replaced Steve Walsh, Ronnie Platt, it was on the latest album that Kansas just put out. And actually, they're working on a new album, I understand. Ronnie Platt used to sing for Shooting Star
Oh
for
my
a period
gosh.
of time.
Good
And
grief.
so from Shooting Star to Kansas is Ronnie Platt. Evidently, he's I've heard a little bit of his voice. He's got a pretty decent voice. So
Yeah. Somebody recently on Facebook posted a live shot of them playing a song, and he's old enough to know better, and he was from my old neighborhood, and I told him, I said, this is a tribute band. This is not Shooting Star.
yeah, and it's interesting. I don't know.
I
If
call,
you've-
but they don't look upon
Right.
it as that.
I don't know if you've seen it, but they have pretty much the entire Farewell Kansas City show is on YouTube. So I think pretty much all of it's pretty good.
I was gonna say,
pretty
where's the camera at though?
Yeah, I mean it's the quality's it's not professionally done, but it's pretty
Okay.
darn good.
Mm.
Pretty darn good. Check that out. And it was a pretty long show, as I remember, probably longer than you wanted it since you weren't feeling good at the time. But
Yeah, I remember they did like, from what I can recall, they did like at least 4 to 5 songs from every album,
yeah,
which was good.
yeah.
Which was good. They kind of,
Yeah, just to hear stuff from Three Wishes that we never
Yeah.
heard before.
yeah. Anyway, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So obviously, I don't know what they have put out since then, but we're gonna feature the 5 albums that they did with Gary West and Van McLain and the original band. Of course, there was some lineup changes here and there, but anyway, this was the group during the time that they were in their heyday around here and a few other cities in the Midwest. So I'm going to go to my top 10 songs. We're going to bounce around here. So first one I got listed is the title track to the 4th album, Burning. Just a wonderful, wonderful ballad. It's hard to say one of my absolute favorite songs, but it's in that group of favorite songs. Another one, The Whole World's Watching, another great ballad. Shockingly, they did that in Kansas City, and I sort of recall Gary West sitting on a piano singing it. That's my recollection of that, just thinking how incredible it was. The first track off Hang On For Your Life, Flesh and Blood, and then the ballad Hollywood, just a fantastic ballad. Just it gets you. It gets you. I've loved it since it came out, and great song. And then got 4 songs from the first album: Breakout, Bring It On, and the first track, Tonight, which is kind of a moody, kind of nighttime type song. Very cool. And then, of course, Last Chance, which you could argue maybe it was overplayed, or maybe they play it, I don't, maybe they even play it today, I don't know. I don't care. It's still a great song. It's an epic for them. Some great moments. It was great seeing it live, and just great memories of those live shows. And I got two from um, the last album. Help me out, Mike. What's the name of that?
Silent Scream.
Silent Scream. Good grief. And I see an omission here. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm good. Okay. The first song off Silent Scream, Summer Sun, which is just a wonderful song, and ballad, Don't Walk Away, which I've always loved since it came out. So those are my top 10. The honorable mention, Straight Ahead, which is from Burning. Got a little radio play here briefly, but it did. In Her Eyes from Silent Scream. Title track from Hang On For Your Life. Sweet Alacia from Hang On For Your Life. And then I put in a Charles Waltz song here, the violin player who wrote a few songs, and I think they might have both appeared on Three Wishes, Weary Eyes. Yeah, just a neat little song. It's not up there with their best, but I like it. Featured one from him. Was glad to do it. It was fun. Another big concert song, Are You On My Side? And from the first album, a little kind of acoustic ballad called Rainfall, which is kind of a pretty little song. And then the last honorable mention, which that'll make it 8 honorable mentions, Somewhere in Your Heart from the Silent Scream album. So those are my 18 songs. I'm very curious as to what Mike's going to have. I bet we have some differences because I didn't have a whole lot from Three Wishes. But anyway, those it. And Mike, you're up.
Curious what I have, eh? Well, we shall see. We got a little over half the same. But there's a few differences and kind of interesting. Of course, we have quite a few songs to pick from, and they're another band with no clunkers really to speak of.
Exactly.
So we had 5 full albums, so we're looking at about 50 songs here. So we're bound to have some differences when you're looking at 50 songs versus
no clunkers, right?
Yeah, versus only 4 albums and significantly less songs for Touchstone as we just went through.
Yeah.
Because they had longer songs. Starting off with my top 10 from the first album, just this one that you didn't have at all, Just Friends. I really loved the first album, and ultimately I got 5 songs off of the first album, but for my top 10, I have Just Friends, and also which you had mentioned in your honorable mentions. In my top 10 is Rainfall, a great song.
Yeah.
From Hang On For Your Life.
Wait a minute, that's only 2 from the first album.
Yeah, well, the other 3 are in my honorable mentions.
Okay, sorry.
Hang On For Your Life, Hollywood, which is in yours as well. And a song that I really didn't appreciate as much as I should have until later on, and this song is just incredible, I think. And I guess being the last song on an album didn't help either. Sweet Alacia is a great ballad. And also another ballad from Three Wishes, The Whole World's Watching. And another ballad from Burning, the title track, Burning. Next three are from Silent Scream. The great, great Summer Sun. As a matter of fact, they had a video on MTV,
Oh,
didn't they? Yeah.
It's on YouTube.
Is it?
Yep.
And Somewhere in Your Heart.
Okay.
Great song. And I also like In Her Eyes. From
it's
that
wonderful.
same album. And then lastly, a song that's not on those 5 albums. And when this came out, it just came out of nowhere when, I think it came out when they put out their best of on CD, but Touch Me Tonight, even though it's
Wow.
Keith Mitchell, I have just loved that song since the very beginning. Just loved it.
That shocks the
Oh,
hell
yeah.
out of me.
Oh no, I've loved that since day one. First time I heard it, and still to this day, when I re-listen to it doing this list, it's like, wow, that is still great.
There's nothing bad about it. I mean, I
Yeah.
have no problem with it at all.
In my honorable mentions, the 3 from the first album are Higher, and then the 2 songs. I think they sounded a little bit similar, Tonight and Last Chance. Yeah, I had to think about Last Chance, and I think, and both Tonight and Last Chance, I think I heard them a little bit too many times, and that's why they're in my honorable mention and not my top 10.
Yeah.
I'd say back in 1982, maybe those would have been in there, but just because of that. But
Makes
still
sense.
great songs.
Makes sense.
Title track from Hang On For Your Life. Another one to add from 3 Wishes is Heartache, another ballad.
Yeah.
From Burning, Like You, the first song, Straight Ahead. And also from Burning, Winter. And lastly, this might be the last song on Silent Scream, Don't Stop Me Now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I've always loved that song.
That song rocks.
So yeah,
That's
I remember it.
an
I remember it from the shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what I remember.
That's definitely something.
As a matter of
That's
fact,
an omission.
I remember Gary Westlake kind of swinging his arm during "Don't Stop Me Now." But I'll tell you what, I think Shooting Star could have been huge, and they went through a heck of a lot of bad luck. I think bad luck was probably their biggest nemesis throughout the years. I think they had management problems and record company problems
with the first album.
Yeah.
It came out, and then they pulled it, and then it went out of print. No one could get it.
Yeah.
And then they released it later, and people were already moved on, and
Right.
then they had to get renewed interest with "Hang On For Your Life," which they did, and they had some success, as you said, like in the Midwest, playing some shows here and there.
They probably just never got record company support, and then
Right.
like 3 Wishes. Geez, I remember we didn't even know that album existed till 2, 3, 4 years later, maybe.
Yeah.
We didn't even know it. We didn't even know it was out there, and I think it's a shame, but I think the real appeal to me was Gary West's voice. That to me is the main thing that I just absolutely love from the band. He had an incredible voice, and I think he probably left because they probably should have been big and it wasn't happening, and that's probably he probably gave up on the music business, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And just said, that's it, I better go out there and make a living. And it's a shame. What a great talent. he played guitar. He was awesome on piano, and yeah, I remember him just singing at the piano, and he was fantastic. What a shame, but these 5 albums are great.
Yeah. Yep. They were a great band. You know what I'm saying about like the people running around right now calling themselves shooting star? To me, if the core of the band when they were in their heyday is there, you can call yourself the band name. It doesn't have to have everybody from the original band or everybody from the heyday, but when you have no one,
Yeah, well,
none of the writers, none of the singers, none of the main players, they should be called a tribute band.
well, it's all about trying
I don't know how.
to attract
Yeah.
money
Oh, I know.
at shows.
Yep. Well, that was fun. The Great Shooting Star. Appreciate you watching. Let us know what you think, and like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.